And 2006 saw the final arrival at the festival for Jamie Cullum, somebody we had wanted to book for a few years, big success in England, but then we could verify by ourselves at the Théâtre Maisonneuve, the guy is an explosive talent, is very spectacular, but still this is not getting in the way of his basic talent, which is being a great piano player and a great singer. Huge voice, and I think he's a star that we have to count on for the future of jazz and for the future of the Jazz Festival as well. He performed on the tribute to Paul Simon the night after. We had reserved some time for him the day of his show to come and do some rehearsal. So I had an hour for him to assemble with the band, brilliant band that we had to do the show, but still, he had to do 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover, which is a quite big song for Paul Simon, and he nailed it in about 15 minutes. I was amazed at his talent and his easy connection with the rest of the musicians. Very curious man, you're always on the lookout for something new. He tried himself at pedal steel while we were rehearsing, you know, amazing. And then Paul Simon himself, I just mentioned that Paul Simon, we did a tribute, but we had Paul Simon at the festival that year. Beautiful concert, this perfectionist. We had been looking forward, dreaming of having Paul Simon at the festival for a long time, but it never happened, and in the end, it's their agent that called us, because we had forgotten about doing Paul Simon, and they called us and offered that we present Paul Simon at the festival. Big surprise for us. A sign of time also, because we realized that finally some major people want to join in. Paul Simon was one of them. And the concert was pure musicality, very deep, very profound talent, and the way that, you know, sometimes we say that some artists do have a crossover power. I think that Paul Simon made people cross over to some music by the way that he has featured South African and South American musicians in his most important albums. So Paul Simon finally came to the festival. But the biggest surprise of that year was Goran Bregovic. When we did the closing concert, we knew that, well, the show was called Orchestra for Weddings and Funerals. And it really befits what he does, where you see very intense, very joyous moments, and then some pretty sad, more dirgy-like music. And I was not all too sure about doing this outside. So when Laurent Saunier proposed that, I said, "Are you sure?" I'm not sure it's the kind of music that we need, because normally we'll go more easily for party music or, you know, Latin or whatever explosive music that can make people dance. And he said, "I think it's worth the risk, because my friends in Europe tell me that it's fantastic, it's very intense and all that." But what I saw on the night of the show was that the crowd that was closer to the stage were people that I think came from the same country as Goran Bregovic, and it created some instant connection between the crowd and the performer. And then, with the big orchestra, he made the rest of the crowd listen or dance, whatever was the moment, for 3 hours. Normally the main event lasts for about 75 minutes, 90 minutes maximum. He did a 3-hour show, and people remained there and listened to every single note all the night. Very respectful, very excited at some time, very more like thoughtful at some other time. It was a superb concert, so Laurent was right. It was the right thing to do there.